And it's time now for our Redskins report with our Redskins analyst, Trevor Matich. Of course, as always, brought to you by Fork Union. Trevor, should we all be wearing black armbands today?
Wow.
I mean, was there anything? There was nothing good about last night's game, was there?
You know, I wouldn't say a black armband. It's more a black paper bag over the head.
Yeah.
That was the kind of game it was. The coach called it a total team debacle, and I think he understated it.
Well, it started with a turnover when Kirk Cousins got sacked and he fumbled the ball. The Giants got the ball and scored almost immediately, and you just sort of got the feeling from that moment on that this was going to be a bad night for the Washington team. Was it a game plan problem? Was it a personnel problem? I mean, on paper, the Giants aren't that much better than the Redskins, are they?
No, they're not. If you look at this from an execution standpoint, what happened on the defensive side of the ball, they couldn't get the Giants off the field, and that was a big problem. The Giants were very good at converting third downs, and with the Redskins defense that had so many injuries, especially on the defensive line, they wore down. And when the Redskins offense couldn't support them by getting some points, then the defense just wore down even more. So the defense was behind the eight ball from the start because of the injuries. Then the offense, well, the interceptions and turnovers, 6 total turnovers, 4 interceptions by Cousins. And when you look at how those interceptions happened, there were a couple of different reasons for them, but it all shakes down to Cousins, when he's on rhythm and throwing to a spot, is very accurate and very good. The problem is now that the Giants had 2 game films to look at where Cousins was throwing that ball on rhythm. And they took away those throws. They made it more complicated. They made the reads more complicated. And Cousins, when he has to go off rhythm, tends to throw off his back foot. He tends to delay the throw. And worst of all, he tends to stare down the receiver that he wants to throw to. And that led to one of the interceptions where he was staring at Pierre Garçon to the left. Garçon had his hand up in the air saying, "Throw me the ball now. There's a safety over here. You got to get the ball now." And Cousins just waited and finally threw the ball late, and it was another of his interceptions. So this was about as perfectly scripted a debacle as you could script if you wanted to take Kirk Cousins from the future hope of the Redskins to a complete and utter failure of a football game.
All right. You know, one of my friends, I saw him tweet out this morning a little line that said, "The happiest man in Washington today, RG3."
RG3. You know what? Yeah, he should be happy that he didn't play in this game. Look, 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville, that was Cousins' coming out party. But Jacksonville's defense played really soft and loose. They left a lot of wide open windows to throw the ball. And RG3 was already having a great game against Jacksonville before he got hurt. Cousins picked it up and continued the great game. In this game, RG3 would have had probably a very similar experience because of the way things went and the way that the offensive line played.
All right, so how much of it is also the fact that it's a Thursday night game? I mean, I can only imagine how difficult it is to lose 2 of your regular preparation days that you normally have in a given week when you're playing Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah, it wasn't preparation days so much as it was injury list. Both teams had to play on a short week, but the Redskins had almost twice as many guys on the injury list as the Giants did. And so when things got bad and the Redskins had to go to extra effort to catch up, they didn't have the stamina because a lot of guys played injured. Jason Hatcher played with a hamstring, had to play a lot of plays. And he's a defensive lineman who gets a pass rush.
Right.
Well, he wasn't able to get a pass rush because he wasn't 100%. That whole pass rushing group that got 10 sacks against Jacksonville were fatigued and tired because it's tiring to rush the passer. And they just didn't have it in them physically.
Well,
so the Thursday game did hurt that way.
And speaking of all that, I mean, Niles Paul went out with what it looked like he got his bell rung big time. And then Trent Williams out with and that's a huge loss. He's out with a strained right knee, and on top of the other injuries that we've already suffered, and we're facing the Seahawks next.
Right, and we had another defensive lineman injured. I mean, we've already had 3 on the questionable list for this game, and all of a sudden Jarvis Jenkins injured his ribs. And you're right about that. Now, the good news is they've got 11 days to heal up. And in the football world, that's a long time. The other good news is that as horrific as this game was, if the Redskins can somehow knock off the Seahawks, and it's not out of the question, then it will obliterate everything negative about this week. So the Redskins have a great danger and a great opportunity next week. The danger is they get blown out again. The opportunity is if they can win that game, all of a sudden everything flips. But they've got to get healthy in order to do it, and we won't know about Trent Williams until they do an MRI on his knee, whether or not he will be available.
Yeah.
And if he's not available, then that will be probably the biggest loss that the Redskins have had yet.
As you know, Trevor, I did not rush out to purchase a Kirk Cousins Redskins jersey. My partner in crime here did. So real quickly, when is Griffin going to be back on the field, man? Because I think we need him.
Ryan, I think you should take that Cousins jersey and hit Larry with it. Just beat him with the jersey.
Listen, on this point, just give me a moment. Kirk Cousins, if you're listening, I spent a lot of money on this jersey. And I don't want to feel like I made a bad investment. So, Kirk, listen, against the Seahawks, you've got to redeem yourself.
Here's the thing. RG3 will be out for at least 2 more months, probably.
All right.
Most likely.
But he'll be back.
So, probably. We're not sure, but it looks like that. The point is that Cousins has plenty of time to either prove that this was a one-time bad day or to prove that this is how it is and he can't perform under pressure.
Thank you, Trevor Matich. We've got to leave it there. I'm sorry. It's always good stuff. We'll talk to you before the next